There was a time, not so long ago really, when the whole wide world could fit inside a crackling voice on a dashboard radio. And sometimes, the most ordinary person you knew could become a hero before supper. You remember the radios? Big, boxy things bolted under the dash of the family sedan or perched on a Formica countertop in the kitchen. Not sleek like today. They had weight, they had heft. Knobs you turned with intention. A coiled cord on the microphone that felt important in your hand. And that sound, that distinctive squeal, followed by a voice, materializing out of the static, clear as a bell one moment, swallowed by the void the next. They called it CB, Citizens Band, to folks like Martha Henderson, watering her geraniums on the porch of her white clapboard house on Elm Street, Cedar Falls. It was simply the airwaves. Her connection to a world beyond the laundry line and the Piggly Wiggly. Martha was nobody special, or so she thought. Widowed young, she'd raised her boy, Tommy, right there in that house. Worked the counter down at Johnson's Hardware, knew everyone's name and what size wrench they'd likely need before they asked. Life was predictable, comfortable, like her worn-in rocking chair. Until Roy, Tommy's uncle, a long-haul trucker with a laugh like gravel tumbling down a chute, gifted Tommy an old CB radio for his 16th birthday. "Gotta keep tabs on the boy," Roy winked at Martha. "The world's getting bigger out there on them highways." Tommy, buzzing with teenage excitement, installed it in his beat-up Chevy pickup. But Martha, curious, asked Roy to put a base unit in her kitchen, right beside the flour canister and the recipe box. "Just in case," she'd said, wiping her hands on her apron. "Never know when you might need to reach out." It looked alien there, amongst the crocheted pot holders and the ceramic rooster cookie jar. But Martha, ever practical, found a place for it. She'd listen sometimes while rolling out pie dough or snapping green beans. The voices became a tapestry woven into her afternoons. There was Rubber Duck, a trucker hauling produce up Interstate 80 with a penchant for bad jokes. Songbird, a woman with a surprisingly clear, melodic voice who seemed to know every back road in 3 states. The Professor, who quoted Shakespeare over the airwaves when traffic was light. And Roy, of course, long-haul Roy, checking in from dusty truck stops with names like the Oasis or Big Bessie's. Martha mostly listened, a lurker, they'd call it now, until the Tuesday the rain wouldn't quit. It was October. A cold, relentless rain had been falling since dawn, turning the county roads to slick ribbons of mud. Martha had just put a meatloaf in the oven, the comforting aroma filling her small warm kitchen. The CB crackled to life, with an urgency she hadn't heard before. "Breaker, breaker 19. This is Songbird. Anybody copy? Come back." The voice, usually so calm, held a tremor. "Songbird, this is Rubber Duck. I copy you 5 by. What's your 20? Over." I'm not sure exactly. Route 14, southbound, maybe 5 miles past the old Miller place? Over." "Copy that, Songbird. What's your situation? Over." "Got trouble. Real trouble. Came around a bend. Water's washing clear across the road up ahead. Looks deep. Real deep. My brakes, they ain't holding good on this slick. I'm sliding. I got my grandbaby with me, Rubber Duck. She's just 5. Over." Panic, raw and cold, flooded the channel. Silence followed, thick and heavy, broken only by the hiss of static and the drumming rain on Martha's roof. Her hand flew to her mouth. Route 14. That was the old county road, prone to flooding near Miller Creek. It wound through low, boggy land. And Songbird, Martha pictured her. A woman, maybe her own age, voice usually warm with laughter, now terrified, with a child. Martha didn't think. She moved. Years of managing Tommy's scraped knees and Roy's tall tales kicked in, calm under pressure. That was Martha Henderson. She grabbed the microphone, her knuckles white. She took a deep breath, pushing down the flutter in her own chest. She remembered Roy's lesson. Press the button. Wait a beat. Speak clear. Say over when you're done. Her voice, usually soft and reserved for asking about shelf stock at the hardware store, came out surprisingly steady on the airwaves. Breaker 19 for Songbird. This is Kitchen Light. Kitchen Light copying you. Over. She'd blurted the first thing that came to mind. The warm glow from her window, cutting through the rainy gloom outside. A beat of silence, then desperate hope. Kitchen Light? Oh, thank heavens. Can you hear me? Over. Loud and clear, Songbird. Kitchen Light copying. Now listen sharp. You near Miller Creek Bridge? Over. Yes. Yes. Just before it. Water's coming over the road. Over. Okay, Songbird. You listen to Kitchen Light. Ease off that gas pedal right now. Don't slam brakes, just ease off. Gentle-like. You got momentum, use it. Aim for the highest point you see, even if it's just a little hump. Keep that wheel straight as an arrow. Don't look at the water, look at where you want that car to be. You understand me? Over. Martha's voice was firm, maternal. The voice she used when Tommy tried to ride his bike down Dead Man's Hill. I understand, Kitchen Light. Ease off. High point, straight wheel. Over. Songbird's voice was shaky but focused. Good girl. Now, Rubber Duck, you copy Kitchen Light. Over. Loud and proud, Kitchen Light. Rubber Duck copying. How about 10 minutes out? Hammer down. Over. Songbird, Rubber Duck's coming. You just hold steady. Keep talking to me. Tell me about your grandbaby. What's her name? Over. Her name's Lily. She's got pigtails. Yellow like corn silk. She's scared, Kitchen Light. Real scared. Over. You tell Lily Kitchen Light says she's the bravest girl in Cedar County. Tell her we got a whole convoy of good folks coming to see her. You just keep that wheel straight, honey. Breathe. In, out. Like blowing on hot soup. Over. Martha kept talking, her voice a lifeline thrown across the crackling airwaves. She talked about the stubborn rose bush by her back step that bloomed every year no matter what. She talked about the time Tommy brought home a stray dog soaked to the bone, and how they dried him by the oven. Simple things, calm things, anchors in the storm. She heard Songbird's breathing slowly steady, punctuated by soft words of reassurance to Lily. The CB became a tiny, warm room suspended in the rainy chaos, holding 3 souls, 2 on a flooding road, 1 in a safe kitchen, bound by static and sheer human will. Minutes stretched like taffy. Martha's meatloaf, forgotten, cooling in the oven. Then, through the static, a new voice, deep and booming with relief. Songbird, Kitchen Light, this is Rubber Duck. I got eyes on. Red sedan, pulled up on that little rise near the old oak. Looks high and dry. Repeat, high and dry. Over. A sob crackled over the channel. Then Songbird's voice thick with tears. We made it. Oh, Kitchen Light, we made it. Lily's saying thank you. Over. Copy that, Songbird. Praise the Lord and pass the channel. Kitchen Light. You are a sight for sore ears, darling. Over. Rubber duck chuckled, the sound rich with released tension. Martha leaned back against her kitchen counter, the microphone slipping slightly in her suddenly weak hand. The warmth that flooded her wasn't just from the oven. It was something deeper, something powerful. She hadn't moved from her linoleum floor. She hadn't gotten wet. But she'd acted. She'd reached out into the storm with nothing but her voice and her common sense, and it had been enough. Just glad you're safe, Songbird. You and little Lily. Rubber duck, you get 'em warmed up good. Over and out. Her voice was quiet again, but it carried a new weight, a new certainty. Word got around Cedar Falls, of course. It always did. Johnson's hardware was buzzing. Old man Johnson himself slapped the counter and declared, "Martha Henderson, our own kitchen light," turned housewife into a highway hero. Folks would wink at her in the grocery aisle. "Hey, kitchen light, need a hand reaching the top shelf?" Roy beamed with pride every time he keyed his mic. "Long Haul Roy here, cousin to the famous kitchen light. Keep the shiny side up." Even Billy, the pimply teenager who bagged groceries, looked at her with newfound awe. "My dad says you're cooler than Code Jack, Mrs. Henderson." But for Martha, the real change was quieter. It was inside. That little box on her kitchen counter wasn't just a radio anymore. It was a thread connecting her to a vast, invisible network. She started talking more. Not just listening, she'd report a downed tree limb on Oak Street. "Breaker 19, kitchen light here. Big old branch down near the Elm Street turnoff. Watch yourselves now. Over." She'd warned about a speed trap Sheriff Dawson had set up on Route 7. "Smoky report, smoky report. Bear in the air near mile marker 22. Parked under the big billboard. You copy? Over." She'd chat with Songbird, whose real name was Evelyn Perkins, it turned out, a retired schoolteacher from the next county over, about recipes and grandkids. She learned the lingo. 10-4 for acknowledged. What's your 20? For location. Put the hammer down for go fast. She had a handle now. Kitchen light. It wasn't just a name. It was an identity. A role. A quiet power she never knew she possessed. One crisp November evening, Tommy came home for supper. He'd been quiet lately, wrestling with some trouble at the auto shop where he worked. Martha was washing dishes, the CB murmuring softly with distant trucker chatter in the background. Tommy slumped at the kitchen table, pushing his peas around his plate. Martha dried her hands, watching him. She didn't pry. She just picked up the microphone. "Breaker 19 for the Cedar County crew. Kitchen light here. Just a little thought floating on the breeze tonight. Seems to me life throws a lot of static our way. Bad signals, dead air, times you feel like nobody's listening." She saw Tommy glance up, surprised. She kept her voice soft, steady, looking not at the mic, but out her kitchen window at the first stars appearing. "But you gotta remember, you ain't ever truly alone out there. There's always a channel open somewhere. Might be a friend's voice. Might be a stranger's kindness, crackling through the noise. Sometimes," she paused, her voice thickening just a touch. "Sometimes the light you need ain't a big spotlight. It's just a steady little kitchen light, shining out into the dark, reminding you which way is home. Don't be afraid to key that mic, friends. Don't be afraid to reach out or to answer the call when it comes. We're all in this convoy together. Over." She put the microphone down gently. The CB was silent for a long moment. Then, a chorus of responses crackled back. simple but strong. 10-4 kitchen light. Good copy. Over. You got that right. Over. Keep the light burning, darling. Over and out. Tommy didn't say anything about the radio, but later, as he helped her dry the dishes, he put an arm around her shoulders and gave her a squeeze. A long, silent, understanding squeeze. He'd heard her. Not just the words on the radio, but the message beneath. The static cleared, just for a moment. That's how it was back then. Before the internet, before cell phones, shrunk the world into a pocket screen. We had these boxes, these magic boxes that turned kitchen tables into command centers, housewives into dispatchers, truckers into knights of the highway, and lonely stretches of asphalt into communities humming with connection. It wasn't about the technology. Lord knows, it was temperamental at best. It was about the humanity it carried. The willingness to say, "Breaker 19, anybody out there?" And the courage to answer. I copy you. Go ahead. We learned patience, waiting for a clear channel. We learned clarity, making every word count through the static. We learned trust, believing the voice telling us about the smoky around the bend. We learned that help could come from the most unexpected places. A crackling voice named Kitchen Light, guiding you through the flood. A rubber duck, barreling through the rain to your side. We learned that your worth wasn't just in your job title or your address. On the airwaves, you were your word. You were your handle. You were how you showed up for a stranger in the dark. They say the CB faded when better things came along. Maybe. But the things it taught us, those didn't fade. The importance of a clear signal in a noisy world. The power of reaching out, even if your voice shakes. The profound impact of simply listening when someone else keys the mic. The quiet heroism found not in grand gestures, but in steady presence, like a kitchen light burning bright in the storm. A beacon saying, "I'm here. You're not alone." So, next time you feel a little lost in the static of the modern world, remember the crackle, the warmth, the voices in the dark. Remember the simple, powerful truth we learned on Channel 19, that sometimes the most profound connections happen not face-to-face, but heart-to-heart, across the quiet, endless miles. And that back then, on the open road of life, thanks to nothing more than a shared frequency and a little courage, we were all somebody. We were all heard